Because it's October, we must remember October. In the morning, in the morning, in the morning. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Coming at you live on a Friday. It's October. I'm super excited. How you doing? We're going to get crazy. We're going to get wild. We're going to have a Halloween this year. One way or another, we're going to have Halloween. And I'm making the announcement right here at the beginning of the show. We're going to have Halloween, guys. And girls. And non-binaries. We're going to have it all. We're going to have Halloween. It's going to be on a Saturday. Am I excited? Just relatively excited. It's going to be pretty fun, I think. We got a baby girl here that's going to be dressed up as a happy orange monster. That is what she has requested. And Grandma is handcrafting a orange happy monster outfit. And I'm very excited for it. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. I think realistically, when you get down to it, we're just going to be walking around the neighborhood in our outfits. And that's pretty much going to be it, dude. That's what we're going to do. I mean, we're going to stay socially distant. We're going to do that kind of stuff. We're going to set up I don't know. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do we're thinking about either doing a clothesline or a tube in order to socially distance send candy to the children's. I'm thinking a tube because then I can fashion it to look like a blah, 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 spooky monster tongue, right? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that's going to be our best bet. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. I don't like the clothesline idea, dudes. I don't like the clothesline idea because I think the reality of that one is I got pulleys, I got ropes, I got all sorts of crazy stuff, and I don't want to deal with that. I'd rather deal with the success factor of tubes. You know what I'm talking about? We're talking about plumbing. We're talking about plumbing and sending candy to some kids as socially distant as we possibly can, and I think it will be fun because it's Halloween, bros. And the bros goes out to the ladies, too. I hope everybody knows that I call everybody's bros. I hope you all know that, and I hope no one's offended because I've recently heard that people get offended when they get called dude, and I call everybody dudes and bros because I feel like everybody's my dudes, my bros. I feel that way. I really do. I responded to a coworker's text the other day. I called her bro. And I hope that is an explanation of friendship, not anything weird like that. But anyhow, it's October. I'm a little excited. We're getting ready for Halloween. It's pretty cool. Got up early today and went and got some new old cabinets. And people would be excited if I was to say cabinets and get a totally wrong impression in their minds of exactly what I'm about to talk about. But it realistically has to do with old school lockers. We found these two old school lockers. I say we. I mean, Vicky found them. I mean, come on. We went and loaded those up early this morning. And today I've been reconfiguring our streaming broadcasting software. Hopefully we're coming at you looking good today. Hopefully we're looking good. Hopefully everything's looking sharp and everything is legitimate. I hope everything is correct the way that you guys like it. Because I have to admit, the refresh here on the software is like a whole bunch of new buttons. Some of the buttons that I even requested have been added to the software. I am not the guy who influenced that decision. I might have been the drop in the bucket of the probably millions of people that were like, dude, why don't we have a record button on the top of the thing? You know what I'm saying? So, awesome additions to the software. Hopefully it sounds good. Wasn't able to do a test stream earlier and then review it. So if there is a problem, somebody let me know, like if the audio's too low or too high or whatevs. Let me know in the chat. And I'm going to run through and give a shout out here to the people in the chat because this is an interactive show. That's how this go. That's why some people are like, dude, I can't find the live streams later. They get put to private. Oh, sorry, not private. They're not private. Let me correct my own accidental wrong thing there. They get moved to what's called unlisted, so you can watch them later, 100% if you want. If you have a link to it, you can. If you become a sponsor, become a Patreon, join a member on the channel, you get access to our Discord. They're all listed in there. That's the easy way. The free way, the free, 100% free way to get to watch the live streams later if you like, is if you subscribe to the channel, you hit the notifications, and you actually get a notification. If you have that notification, you can always click on it later and always bring you right up to the live stream so you could re-listen again and be like, man, there was some kind of gem in there I really wanted to re-listen to. Then you could do that. If not, then I don't know what else to tell you. But the reality is, in the world of algorithmic robot control of the internet, what ends up happening is new people come to the channel and they're like, I don't want to listen to a show of 2 hours of this guy talking to people in the chat, which ultimately makes sense. I get that. That makes sense realistically when you're like, dude, I just wanted to learn about Pogostemon. And the reality is that you're like, wait, this is 2 hours of a guy who was talking about all sorts of crazy stuff. And so I've decided to go this route, and I think it's working pretty well because it seems like new people come to the channel and they either, they watch the sort of air quote educational content that I post up. So it's hopefully some experience, some learning, maybe some entertainment or whatever. And they watch that stuff, and then they're like, all right, I'm out. I'll see you later kind of thing. Or they're like, oh, dude, I want to subscribe, and then they end up coming to a live stream later, like a week later or a couple days later or whatever, and they're like, oh, maybe this is, oh, cool. I like this. This is interactive. I can ask questions and do all that stuff. Now, let's give those shout-outs that I was talking about before I got distracted by algorithms or whatever. I don't know what I was talking about. Jake D663, first to the chat, asking things, stuff, surprises. There's likely going to be some of that. Alyssa is wondering about the spider. Hey, spider's doing good. I eliminated some of the spider competition earlier today. I whacked a spider with a shoe because it was not the giant spider, who's my homie. I want to say my homie. I feel like we're on a respect type basis, relationship here. I eliminate the competition, and the big giant spider is allowed to eat. I have no idea where that thing is. It's doing some spooky something somewhere. Dave's Aquarium's coming in third, and Frank Dominguez coming in first. He's first to the fourth. Sounds good to me. Zombie Drummer is here. We've got Boris the Spider. Oh, I'm going to write that down. I think we might have to... No one. I haven't seen anybody recommend any names for the spider. So I'm going to write this down, and maybe we'll get a running list of spider names. I'll click my pen here. There we go. Boris. What is with this pen? Oh, my God. Have I literally written so much with this pen that it's going to stop working? I'm going to bash the table. It's good for a broadcast when you bash the table. Boris. There we go. Luckily, I have my microphone now set up to a independent mount, so when I bash the table, you guys don't really hear it in the microphone stand. So how cool is that, dude? Anyhow, moving right along, like the weird song by The Who. Oh, yeah, okay, makes sense. Dave's Aquarium says Shalab the Spider. Oh, that's going all the way back to some Tolkien action. Or Peter, because, well, if you know, you know. You might know, and if you know, you might know. Because it's a wolf spider from Alyssa. Mirdul Singh is here. Mismatched Socks. Used to be going by a different name, which is legit. people are allowed to change their screen names. You know how it is. Rehab Harris is here, otherwise known as Sarah Baker, going backwards. Sand Creek Aquatics 2 is here. I'm not sure who that is. It's was a big loss in our small aquarium YouTube community here when we lost Sand Creek Aquatics. So it sounds like somebody is running as Sand Creek Aquatics 2 as a tribute, I think. So that's cool. Cool to hear. He was an amazing man and a member of the Fish Fam. Yep, that's right. He was a cool dude and very much appreciated our interactions throughout the years. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate to lose anybody. It's almost like increased unfortunate when it's somebody who's such a nice contributor and a nice human, you know? I mean, it's bad all across the board as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you call me hippy dippy if you like. That does not bother me. I don't really care. You call me a liberal or whatever y'all want to call me. It's all good. I still always have the right of, I don't know. I have all my rights as far as I'm concerned. I still don't have the lack of ability to vote. I still have that. I don't have the lack of ability to bear arms. I still have that. And I still have the ability to just drop the ban hammer on anybody who's, overly ridiculous, because my time is precious, and so is yours. We're moving right along here. Let's say what's up to a few more people so we can get going with the chat. We got Rico Stan is here. Ooh, Rico Stan's wondering if I spent the last few hours trying to decide if I want to wear PJ pants and a T-shirt or shorts and a hoodie. It's 57 outside, so right around that confusing temperature. Shorts and a hoodie, for sure, 100%. That's my jam. I rock that a lot. Mainly because, you still have your quick leg movements. You're able to move quickly, but your upper body will stay toasty warm whilst moving quickly around out in nature. Maybe you're just in the backyard, moving around, doing some Tai Chi, doing some karate. Maybe you're watching some old Steven Seagal films and thinking, boy, howdy, what happened to that guy? Don't go watch those movies. They're the worst thing ever. And if you were wondering what that dude is up to, earlier today I was listening to, speaking of Steven Seagal, what the hell? What's going on here? Let me find my history. I can remember the guy. He was doing Ralph the Movie Maker. Yeah, Ralph the Movie Maker does some great a critical analysis of stuff. He did a Steven Seagal thing a couple of days ago. It's like a half an hour long or 40 minutes long. I've only listened to half of it, but I was chuckling for sure throughout it. Very funny, very good. Appreciate it. Shout out to a way more successful YouTuber than myself. So, maybe we'll send 50 people over there and they'll check it out. I don't know. He's already got 300,000 views on that video, so I think a lot of people already know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Let's move along in our list here. I already said hi to Dave, but I'll say hi again. Big D Smoke is here. What's up, my local yokel? My man's right down the street. Sorry, I didn't get to know him. I only started watching FishTubers a couple months ago. Yes. There are new people, by the way. There are new people to the community, always. I see Daryl Dimer. I see VB20. What's up, my dude? Pipex is here. Dude, what's going on? Texas Andy Aquatics. VB, I got a couple of dwarf aquarium lilies. I love them. Only issue is when is even in my 55 with just the lilies can take over, so I purposely cut them off. No, I don't see but maybe one a month trying to grow. Yeah, I've been working on an aquarium lily video, and that's a recommendation that I give in that video is don't clip the whole thing off. Mainly what you want to do when you're trimming an aquarium lily is essentially find the older leaves and clip those ones out and kind of thin the herd as opposed to just trimming the whole shabazz. if we're talking about like cryptocoryne and stuff like that, you can just trim the whole tops off. It's not a big deal. But aquarium lilies, you want to kind of piecemeal go through and just thin it out, and cool it down, and just, tell it to cool its jets. And one of the big reasons for that is that aquarium lilies don't have they don't have like the big reserves from being able to, pull back any of those nutrients. It's spending a lot of its energy getting all the way up to the top of the water. So if you think of it in terms like that, it's kind of like, oh, well, it's got all its energy way out there and you clipped it all off. And then it's like, oh, I got to try and grow again. And it's all the way down at the bottom, kind of makes sense. Kind of starts to combine into a like, oh, now I get it. Now I get it. Okay, sorry, I just got a notification over here of something that doesn't matter for right now, but I will attend to that later. Not a big deal. But we got to do our YouTube members update real quick in just a second here. I'm gonna try to say hello to everybody real super fast speed here. Rogers Aquariums, Steve Bearteach. Yeah, Steven. Good to see you. Bentley Pascal is here. Pasco, sorry. I'm like just getting good at like mispronouncing people's names, and then it just gets stuck in my head, and I don't know what to do after that. Brian Schiller is here. Texas Andy, I already said hi. Oh, I'm getting confused. I'm just gonna go into the super chat of the day from the Fish Tank Barn. $5 into the tip jar. Thank you very much. If you guys haven't checked out the Fish Tank Barn, you definitely should. He's got some great content on there. This new little mic extension is great, but I'm gonna have to like really tighten this thing down at some point because it keeps moving around on me. Every time I scoot it like this, it becomes a little bit unscrewed. So that's not helpful. There, like that. Like that? Yeah. Thank you for the $5 tip jar. Todd Singerland's wondering, no otter today. I mean, I could go get the otter picture, I guess. I don't know if we need to. If we feel like we need to, we could. But let's update our YouTube members because you guys, that number up there, it's incorrect. It's incorrect. And by the way, it's incorrect going the wrong direction. Let's go up to 102. But it's not even 102. We're building some buffer past the 100. We're all the way up to 103 YouTube members, which is wild. Thank you to George Hall for updating and rejoining. Thank you very much, George. And Thalasia joined up a couple of days ago. And thank you very much. That's putting us up to 103 YouTube memberships. Very much appreciate it. It's definitely a huge benefit to this channel. I cannot stress that much. I cannot stress that enough. Like the YouTube membership thing is a huge benefit for anybody's channel that you want to join up. Highly recommend it. It could, I'm a member on some people's channels because I want to contribute where I can. So, not only am I a proponent of memberships on my channel, I'm a proponent of memberships on other people's channels. Now, the Patreon page, I got to tell you guys, gets super depressing right around the first of the month because we've gone from 225 Patreon patronizers down to 215. We have lost a net loss of 10 patronizers, people on Patreon. So that's I don't care who you are. When you lose like 10 people to credit card processing or whatever it is, it's just a sad event, but it's a reality that we all have to face, that the first of the month comes around. And I hope, beyond hope, that whoever is out there, that it isn't, there isn't anything bad going on. It's just clerical error or a new card or something. I don't wish ill will on anybody, you know what I mean? And especially not financial hardships in the world that we live in, because financial hardships could be a really big deal, especially with the coronavirus, the pandemic, everything going on is very problematic. So anyhow, moving right along, we got to get our screen capture on because I forget who it was that was asking about the otter. We don't do the otter on Fridays. Well, we may bring back the otter just for fun later at some point in time. But on Fridays, we review our Patreon posts, and we will be doing that in just a short amount of time here. But just to start it out, Grassy Peak has a post, a very exciting. It was exciting last year, and it's exciting this year, dude. I cannot tell you guys. I'm always excited about this kind of stuff. Very exciting. Very cool. Glass City Fish Witch says, I have been able to train my aquarium lily to stay about mid-water by trimming the long ones. It has taken about 6 months to get it looking like a bush. Yep, that's kind of a reality of what you got to do with the aquarium lilies, especially the dwarf varietal, right? Just keep trimming them and get them to doing the thing. I have no idea what Big D Smoke is talking about. I'm very confused. Big D Smoke says I might get a Jordan hoodie. Oh, okay. Now I get what you're talking about. All right, that makes sense. Let's see. Still wearing shorts and a t-shirt at 59 degrees. Mike from the Fish Tank Barn. 60-degree weather is totally fine to be wearing shorts. I mean, maybe throw on what's it in between? What's it in between? Like maybe a long sleeve shirt. I don't know. I mean, 59 degrees doesn't bother me. I got that northerner blood, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't bother me that much when it's cold out. I just start moving around, do something. Tai Chi. You know what I mean? Do some Tai Chi, do some karate. Good stuff. Definitely good stuff. Okay. I don't know what YouTube is doing over there. Just updated me of nothing. Oh, it's added a thing that says transactions on your recent videos. Oh, okay. This is like literally just telling me how many people became a member per video. I don't know. Anyhow, back to the chat here. Let's see what's going on. Zen Ginger's here. What's up, dude? Good to see you. Mellywell. Hey, what's up? That sounds like a good idea. However, my candies may become projectiles. Oh yeah, the talking about the candy tube. The candy tube is coming. I will. I assure you guys that Vicky and I will post something onto like Instagram. Hopefully, high speed impact to somebody's face with the candy tube is going to be cool. And Vicky is lurking around in the background, so I'm going to stop talking about the candy tube right now and what my plans are with the candy tube because it won't be as much of a surprise if she's back there listening. Yeah. No, she knows what's going on. I'm just giving her a hard time because she's messing around with a laundry basket or something back there. I don't know what she's doing. She's lurking in the background and being a little bit fun. Melly Well says, I'm enjoying Cobra Kai. You know what? I tried to watch Cobra Kai with Olivia's grandma and grandpa and Vicky Toria, and they just were like, yeah, this is dumb, dude. So I'm going to have to watch that on my own, and I don't have a whole lot of TV watching time when I'm by myself. What?
I don't think that the mom and pops enjoy the 80s authenticity of what's going on there.
Oh.
I'm okay with watching it.
Vicky likes it. Grandma and Grandpa just didn't know what was going on. If anybody ever gets karate chopped, Grandma's out. I will tell you that. It doesn't matter what the movie is. You could be Bridges over Madison County, and if somebody got punched, my mom would be like, I don't know. This is the violence. There's so much violence going on. And, I got to remind you folks that it's not because my mom is a pushover. Do you think my mom's a pushover? No. It's because my mom spent 45 years seeing the effects of violence working in the emergency department in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? And the OR and the IV team and the blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why she's like, you know what? I don't want to see stuff with violence in it. And even if it is Ralph Macchio and that other dude, the blonde guy, I can't remember his name. And I don't think it really matters that I remember his name or not, but even if it's just those dudes being ridiculous, I think my mom's like, oh, no, Don't kick people. It's not good. You will have to go to get an x-ray. You'll have to do this. You could have lingering damage, Yeah. And I'm like, oh, thanks. That's good. What happened? Whoa. Oh, Vicky is having a situation over there. Are you okay, my dear?
I'm fine.
Do you need a construction worker? I'll come over there, do some construction. On your face. What? Duty floor? You need a vacuum down here? Uh-oh. Time to vacuum. Now I'm going to get the orange vacuum, and I'm going to go wild.
Hobo spiders and hobos down here.
No. The big giant wolf spider named... the current names we have is Shalab and Boris for the giant spider. There couldn't be hobo spiders with the giant wolf spider around. The wolf spider would eat them. Seen it. I've seen it before. Vicky's just out here lurking in the background. What's up? Are you stealing my sticky
Velcro?
Velcro?
No, not yet. I might be.
She's just lurking around my office trying to find things to steal. She's a criminal. It's a criminal element.
Of course.
That's all right. I like it. Let's see. Where were we at? I have a female Endler with a pretty decent size and a red spot on her tail. What do I do? From John Doe. John Doe's here. A red spot on her tail with a pretty decent size and a red spot on her tail. I mean, there's not a lot of information for me to go off of, so I cannot really give you any advice at this point. I don't know. Are we assuming it's some kind of sickness or something? I'm with a red spot on her tail. I don't know. I'm wondering. So I'm guessing that the red spot was not there before. We'll see. Maybe Alyssa knows, and will chime something into the chat or whatever. But I'm a little bit confused by your commenting. I'm gonna see if I can find like an image. I don't know. Let me see. What is going on? I am live right now, and you're at what? That's the garbage can. No, I'm not done with the garbage can. Put the garbage can over there. I don't know what you're doing. What are you doing over there? Yeah, heavily distracted by Vicky Torre with the garbage can in the background. I love you, babe. You are my favorite. Yeah, I don't know. I guess like the best thing that I could think of is that like maybe you have an ammonia burn with your fish would be my guess, something like that. I mean, I know that there's some weird ailments that cause red spots, but you know the first thing that I would always recommend to anybody having problems with their fish is test your water, 100%. Test your water. Test your water. Test your water. Test your water, and know what the hell is going on. It's very difficult to go like, I'd seen some white fluffy stuff on my fish, right? And you're like, okay, well, what's going on with your tank? Is the water 105 degrees? Is ammonia just off the charts? Are nitrates at 400 parts per million? You know, do we know if there's if you have chlorine or chloramine in your water? So you really got to test your water so we could at least kind of know a jump off point. From there, I would say, how often are you doing your water changes and maintaining your tank? From there, I would say, what is your food source and what are you doing as far as feeding goes? Are you overfeeding? Are you underfeeding? Do you have omnivorous fish that you're only feeding protein to? Because they're probably going to be lacking some greenery and stuff like that. Like all of those things are what everybody, me included, 100% me also. I am not saying that I'm better or worse than anybody else, but that's where we got to start. We have to 100% start from there. It's really easy to be going strictly off of observation and stuff like that. It really is going to be all of those things in combination, just the same as a person, right? When you go to the doctor and you say, my neck hurts really bad, the doctor doesn't just say, here's some opium, see you later, right? I mean, your doctor's generally going to take your temperature, take your blood pressure, check out what's going on. They're going to talk to you. They're going to ask you some questions. Did you sleep funny last night on your neck? Or has this been something that is chronic and has been happening for a long time? They're going to check out your neck. They're going to see what's going on. They're going to come to some kind of conclusion. They're going to garner all of this information. And that's the same thing when diagnosing anything going on with our fish. It's super difficult to just strictly go off of, well, my fish has fungus on them, I think. Or maybe they just had something caught on them. So if we're providing a healthy environment, if we're providing the proper food source, if we're providing the things that fish need, and if there's something going on from there, then we can really start to address what's happening. But like, let's say they did have ammonia burns or something like that. Well, it's like, well, what's the remedy? Well, we could get a chemical to take the ammonia out of the water, or we could do a water change and change our maintenance schedule and make sure that we're feeding properly to isolate from there and move forward to find out if there is an overall problem, right? Like I was saying with the doctors, that if they just said, well, here's some opium, dude, you'd probably go and feel fine for a while, but whatever it was that was causing this problem in the first place, it hasn't been resolved. You've just added some panacea to an overall situation that could generally be like, oh, you need to buy a new pillow or sleep in a different position or something, right? So, that's one of the reasons I am kind of like, when it comes down to like fish diagnosis and stuff like that, we really like want to get into a position where we're like on the Discord so that we can ask those kinds of questions. And, it's very difficult when you're trying to do a show and then try and go like, well, have you tested your water? And then we just wait in silence for 45 seconds for somebody to be able to type back in. So I would almost always in any kind of fish or plant situation is go through that diagnostic process of how it is that you as the human are interacting with the ecosystem that you have, that you are taking care of, that you're in charge of, that you've set up. And then move into, okay, wait a minute, there might be a underlying disease, there might be a fungus, there might be a bacteria, there might be that kind of stuff, to really make sure that instead of just treating for stuff and then like hoping that it's going to be fixed, where what it is that the people are doing can really just kind of change our day-to-day operation around the tank, and then can oftentimes like heal a lot of that stuff. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen a orphan fish come into a store that was just in terrible shape. And it's not necessarily, I'm not going to place the blame at the previous owners, because that doesn't, it's not even really what I'm trying to illustrate. It's that sometimes fish come in that maybe the owner passed away. Maybe the owner passed away and the people that came afterwards were not prepared to take care of a tank. They're in a grieving state, because this happened once. Like, they were in a grieving state. They didn't really know anything about fish, and they just called and were like, hey, we have these fish. Can I bring them down there? And considering we got that call so often, it was like, sure. And the people came in, and, the fish were not in good shape. Things were not going very well. And we basically took those fish, we put them into quarantine without any kind of medication or anything like that. That store that I was at, we just put them into a clean, healthy environment for the fish. They were saltwater fish, just like this just like this awesome butterfly that's in the Grassy Peaks post here. And they recovered from all of the problems that they were having just because they were in a much better environment than they were, because they weren't getting fed, they weren't getting taken care of. I don't think, there's just a bunch of stuff going on. All the people didn't know what to do, and they just brought them down to the store. And they just got nursed back to health. We didn't even do anything other than feed them and give them a nice place to live, and they just bounced back and were doing quite well. Sand Creek Aquatics 2 is Amy. Is that what's going on? Is that what is happening? I have to admit, guys, like I'm so outside of the loop. Generally speaking, don't really know. I think that's what's happening. I think I kind of noticed that from the chat. What's going on? Erna Pickery is here. Good to see you, Erna. I love the Erna name. That's good. I wonder if that's your real name. I don't know. Not to point that out or anything, but if it is your real name, that's cool. I like that name. Sometimes drinking water helps. Yeah, sometimes drinking water helps. Yes, 100%. I have to take breaks from coffee and drink water myself as a human. Alyssa says you also want to make sure they have calcium in the water, and if it's the only one with the problem, it might have been attacked. Yeah, those are all like viable things. It's very difficult to like address the issue of one fish during a live stream. It's just incredibly difficult. And when I hear other people try to do it, if I happen to listen to a fish live stream, it's like, oh, this is a little wackadoodle. So, Daniel Scary is here. What's up? What's up, Daniel? Where'd you go? Where is he? Yeah, there he is. I still like his avatar for some reason. I don't know what it is about like his little headshot avatar that's on there. I like it every time I see it. I don't know why. Is there something about like I don't know, something about the composition. Big D Smoke says, yeah, Discord is cool because you can post pictures and, yeah, ask so people can see. Yeah, that's kind of the thing that one of the reasons that I try to limit that to the Discord space, just because it's much easier to kind of go back and forth and really kind of figure out, like, what's happening and also give people time. The Discord works really well to give people time that, like, oh, you know what? I haven't tested in a couple days. Let me go test my water. Come back in a half an hour and post up the results, and then we can keep going from there. I drink a lot of water daily. Yeah, well, there you go. That's good times. Anyhow, let's get to our Patreon post. Sorry, John, I'm not trying to like single you out and like make you feel bad or anything. If I did, that's not my intention. I'm trying to give you good advice in a sound way that I can actually do it. Grassy Peak sends us in the wild caught in New York, this spot fin butterfly, which I think I was trying to remember the. Yeah, I can't remember. I was trying to remember the Latin name. I used to know the Latin names on a lot of like butterfly fish and stuff like that, but it's been a long time since I worked at a saltwater store. So, yeah, that's one of the things that I have tried to mention at on a couple of occasions. Like when you work in a store and you see the Latin names constantly, like on the order sheets from the wholesalers, when you're selling it, all that kind of stuff. It's so easy. It's so much easier to have memory retention on that kind of stuff. And I literally spend almost all of my time like building systems and stuff like that. So it's like, like I know which PVC glue goes on ABS, goes from white PVC to black ABS. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I know all that stuff. And I'm around that so much nowadays that, again, almost all the time, even on my own systems, it's hard to remember the Latin names for things. And I don't know. Maybe someday I'll work at a small store again on the weekends or something. Who knows? Maybe. I don't want to work at a really busy store, though. It's just too weird dealing with customers. It's really important to give wild-caught baby butterfly fish lots of live rock to pick on. It takes for a while them to get the hang of eating micro pellets. They are not reef safe. After Joel's show, check out my channel for more of these guys. Yeah. spin over to Grassy Peak at some point in time. Check out the channel. He's always got he's catching wild fish in New York, like the butterfly fish that come up during summertime when I don't know. I don't know the real name for it, so I'm just going to call it the northerly trade winds come blowing up from the south. I know it's not that, but when the warm weather comes north, these fish will travel north and appear all the way as far north as New York, which is rad, dude, because that's so cool, man. It's hard to think that you could be in New York and go catch tropical reef fish. But, butterfly fish are generally not reef safe, so you don't want to have them with a bunch of high-end coral and stuff like that. You could have them with, some pretty cheap coral, and, they might hammer on them a bit, pick on them and stuff like that. But generally speaking, if it's a coral that has a pretty strong sting, you're generally going to be okay. But other than that, you generally want to have them in a live rock only kind of situation. Whoops. I was trying to remember what red lipstick gobies are. Here we go. Here we go. Copy. It's the, I do not know how to pronounce this one correctly. There we go. Alex Adolsky was asking about breeding gobies. These guys, I do not have any good advice on breeding of them. I went on to the wrong thing. There we go. I clicked on the wrong button, guys. I don't have any good advice on breeding gobies. I really, it's not so much that I don't have good advice. I've bred Watchman gobies. I've bred, what's the other goby? I've bred saltwater gobies. I accidentally bred, I can't remember what they're called. I'm drawing a blank. I've accidentally bred gobies a couple of times. Basically is what it boils down to. And I couldn't really give any good advice other than feeding them well, giving them space to breed, making sure that they're not being stressed out by other fish, other critters, stuff like that. That's pretty much the best advice I have for anybody. And most fish that even are supposedly be triggered by water changes for their breeding habits, I've only experienced that with autosynclus, which that was just a nightmare of trying to maintain a healthy environment for them to breed. But also... also on top of it, I couldn't really pin down what it really was about those big water changes that was really triggering that, because it seemed to be time of the year, but I wasn't getting any real different readings from my water. I assumed that it was probably temperature. Probably anything more than that would just continue to be speculation. But breeding gobies, make sure you have pairs, make sure you have the fish, make sure they're well fed, make sure their water parameters are nice and clean. No fish there's really not any fish out there that's going to breed because the water's dirty or they're underfed. You know what I mean? So, generally speaking, if you have males and females, they're well fed, a good healthy environment, you're probably going to see breeding at some point in time. As far as live bearers go, I always recommend people to kind of keep an eye out for when the babies are being born and kind of just separate the mother while they're born and then get the mother out of there, give them a couple of hours, and then release them into the tank. As far as eggs go, pull eggs, put them into, probably a tumbler or something like that, unless you have plecos, whereas, the males will go in and take care of the eggs. If you're talking about betas, same kind of thing. They lay their eggs in the nest. You take the female out. So it's all pretty like basic stuff. You're just stopping them from getting eaten and things like that. There's really nothing too wild about it. I'm definitely not somebody that the only fish that I've gone into breeding in a manner that I would call like a breeder would have been the beta fish. I did beta fish for a long, long time breeding those. And I would say I emulated a lot of the successful breeders in utilizing live food and just having a ton of different containers and stuff for them to breed into, and then move the females first. Wait until the babies are free swimming, and then remove the male. At that point, once they hatch and start swimming around, remove the male because the male will start eating them. But all that kind of basic stuff is, in my opinion, it's all just like having a lot of tanks, having a lot of clean tanks, and just having the setup ready to go to deal with the volume of fish that you're dealing with, or the eggs. Moving the eggs from getting eaten. All as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty basic. It's just a matter of like having a ton of tanks. There's nothing really too complicated about like removing eggs, putting them in an egg tumbler, waiting for them to hatch, then releasing them in that tank, then providing tiny food for them. You know what I mean? But I prefer the breeding methods that I prefer is trying to have as natural an environment as possible for those fish. Try to have them just a healthy environment that they will likely breed in, which means live plants, live rocks, water chemistry that they're looking for, good variety of food and that kind of stuff. And, generally speaking, you'll probably get some offspring. I don't really encourage the crazy amount of breeding because I don't want to have a crazy amount of aquariums. Like, I don't want to have a bunch of aquariums with, I got adolescent fish over here, I got baby fish over here, I got eggs over here, I got full-grown adults, I got to separate these adults, I got to do all that kind of stuff. That's just not, that's not for your boy right here. My aspect is more like, well, if I could have a 240-gallon tank that's like growing super healthy, I can pay attention to the plants, and on top of that, the super red bristlenose will breed every once in a while, and all of a sudden, I get a bunch of babies, because once they release and become big enough to move around the tank, it's like, oh, we've got a bunch of babies and stuff. Better make sure that I feed for those, and then it's a kind of a much more simple methodology for me to take care of my aquariums at this point in time. I mean, it's the year 2020. We're in a pandemic. Everything's going crazy. And on top of it, I guess I could be breeding fish, but it's just way more. It's way more work for me with when I already have like just a ton of stuff on my plate already. I have a job I got to work at. I got extra side jobs coming in. Got a whole bunch of stuff going on. I got a kid. We got a pandemic, So last thing I want to do is like all of a sudden have a bunch of fish to try and, I guess, drop off at a store, because I'm not a guy who's selling fish or anything like that. So I prefer to go with the inadvertent breeding and hopefully get one or two or a couple of adults that are like, whoa, those are the cream of the crop right there. But everybody has a different theory on most things. So, yeah, we had a whole bunch of people show up, and then they left. What happened? Oh, probably pissed people off. We had like a big spike of like a whole bunch of people showed up. I'm guessing that YouTube must have sent out some kind of weird notification, and then people were like, nah, this guy's an idiot, I gotta go. Yeah, we went right back down to 60 again. Okay. Or maybe it was just YouTube's thing is broken. I don't know. I don't know why it was telling me that. But either way. 80K Aquatics just showed up. Live stream is early. What? I try to vary the time with when I do the live stream. I've started doing the live stream a little bit earlier in the day on Fridays especially. But I've been trying to like kind of move my schedule back to closer to like 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time seems to be sort of a good kind of loosey-goosey time of day for me to do the live stream and not be kind of like exhausted after it. I can still get more stuff done in the afternoon. If I do it at like 3 o'clock, I start to get like really tired, and by the time, it's like the live stream's over, then it's like almost 5 o'clock. Then I got to go cook dinner, so it's, I've just been trying to do it earlier, and I think it works out a little bit better for the European time, and I think it works out even better for Australia, because I think it's like what, 7 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning or something like that in Australia, and it's Saturday. So I think, hold on, let me see what Australian. What time is it right now? Oh, it's 5:23. Oh, in Perth, it's really, really early. It's 3:30. Adelaide, it's 4:30. Canberra? I've never heard Canberra. I don't think I've ever heard that before. It's 5:30, and Kingston, it's 6:30. So Christmas Island, it's 2:30 in the morning. Whoever's in Christmas Island probably just rolled out of the bar, and is awake. Probably just rolled out of. I guess maybe not. I guess it's a pandemic, so maybe they're not. Maybe they're just awake late. Who knows? Myrdal Singh says, what was that place in New Zealand with the weird time zone? Uh-oh. Yeah, what was that? Weird time zone. Let's see. Who was it that had the weird time zone? Is there a 30-minute time zone? Oddly enough, despite its vast size, all of India uses one time zone. Where was that? Half hour and 45-minute time zones. You know what? I was like all zazzed about it, and then when I talked about people in like New Zealand and stuff, they were kind of just like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I was like, oh, maybe not. India, you do. I bet somebody's probably already said it in the chat by now. Let me pull the chat back open. Kiwiland, 8:30 a.m. Saturday in Kiwiland. Yeah, so somewhere it's like 9 a.m. But the fax thing isn't working. South Australia is plus 9.5. Broken Hill, Lord Howe Island. I think it was Lord Howe Island. Is plus a half hour. Oh no, somewhere Chatham. Yep, that's what it was. That's what we were talking about. Chatham Island standard time is 45 minutes. It's all weird. And Newfoundland is also weird. Man, there's a bunch of places that are like plus a half an hour, like all weirdly. You know what? I didn't know that. I didn't know that because I don't know everything. But we'll probably add that to the list of some point in time. It'll pop into my head while I'm talking to people about something, and I'll just be like, "Oh, did you know Chatham Island has a different time?" And they'll be like, "Dude, we are not talking about that right now." And I'll be like, "Oh, well, I tried." I'll be like, "I tried. I tried to interact with other humans, and it didn't go well. So I'll just go talk to my plants." Mary Page Flynn says, I missed a bunch of chat of people. I can't get my chat to roll back. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes, like, when you reopen chat, you lose, like, a whole bunch of it. It's happened to me before. I've tried to, like, say hi to people that were first to the chat, but I had to close it and then reopen it. Yeah, it's just a weird thing of, the internet, dude. ADK is running a marathon. Oh, what is going on? Gonna alert you guys. I'll be trying to bike a marathon. Oh, you're biking a marathon. Nice. I like that. I would like to do an event like that again. As you guys know, I've been working out. I'm about 2 months in to my 3 months of working out. I think. Let's go weeks. I haven't missed a day of my workout yet. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 8. We're in week 9. Ooh, that's hot. That is hot, my guy. So I haven't missed a day of my workout in over 8 weeks. It's going pretty well. I've hit that plateau where, you lose that initial weight And then now I'm just going back into doing what I do, working out. I'm going to keep doing it. I'll probably keep it up, but my plan was to go 90 days and then kind of see where I'm at. Rebuilding my lung strength and all that stuff from being sick earlier this year. So it's all good. It's going well. Definitely lost some of the COVID fat from eating cookies while I was sick. I have to admit, I was eating ice cream at probably an inordinate rate. You know, you get a little bit depressed. You're in a pandemic. Probably going to eat some ice cream. Probably going to gain a little bit of weight like it was Christmas all year or something like that. Dave's Aquarium sends this post in. It says, one of the interesting color morphs that has come out of a completely uncontrolled platy community breeding experiment. Hold on. Pretty! I have to agree. These are some very interesting, kind of lovely looking little platies. I mean, I hit the like button. I hit the little heart button because I like these a lot. I would be likely intrigued by getting some of these platies, even though they're not really a fish that I have all that much to do with these days anymore. I haven't had platies in what seems like a really long time. I guess maybe it has something to do with the fact that it's sort of like a... I guess this fish has the mystique of being like a beginner fish or something like that. So maybe it's just for those reasons or whatever. I never really found an extreme level of difficulty with them, but always enjoyable, that's for sure. They're definitely moving around. They're definitely making more of... They're making genetic replicas of themselves, right? Well, genetic variant replicas, right? But these are some pretty unique looking color morphs, and I like them. 10 out of 10. I'll give it a 10 out of 10, because why not? I like it. Dave's Aquariums also sent this in right here. Mr. Bristlenose, or Mrs. Bristlenose, sorry, is out for an afternoon snack. And you guys can tell it's the Mrs. because the bristles are not extraordinarily pronounced. That's the easiest way to identify males from females. So maybe that's a tip that can help you out. I do like, I got to admit, okay, look, I like this bristlenose. So this is no fault as a bristlenose, but I do have to admit, I definitely enjoyed viewing the texture of this rock right here. And maybe there's something wrong with my brain, but I definitely enjoyed the texture of this rock. And I kind of was thinking like, man, maybe I should get some of that rock. But I guarantee you, if I went to the rock yard, this wouldn't have stood out to me. It would have been a giant pile, and I would have been like, nah, I don't want any of that. But it definitely worked out in Dave's setup here. Probably has something to do with the contrasts of the fish, the substrate, the rock, the wood, and this Java fern. Which, by the way, this Java fern's looking a little beat up, but he's probably got a fish in there that's munching on it. That's probably the situation, I would guess. Because of these buggers. These buggers, he's probably got fish that are going to be munching on things because... almost everybody that has angelfish always has a type of fish that's going to hammer their plants. I feel like out of my years of experience of dealing with people, it's generally people that have angelfish that have a fish that eats their plants. Like that just seems to pop up very often. And maybe it's not an accurate representation, but it just feels like that happens a lot. The Eastside Angels posing for me for once. Oh, so shiny. And I have to admit, I love pictures of angelfish. Like they don't have a characteristic that I like taking care of. Like they don't necessarily have a personality that I enjoy taking care of as a fish. But I love taking pictures. I love making pictures and taking pictures and processing pictures and editing pictures of angelfish because they are marvelous. Marvelous. They are marvelous fish. As far as my photography, I love taking pictures of angelfish. I just don't like taking care of them. They're not a fish that I like taking care of. But those are some wonderful specimens. I hope you could breed those. I know he's been having issues off and on trying to get the fish to breed. Why isn't this framing Can I roll up? I guess I got to make it smaller, right? Let's go like that. Oh, now it's not even working at all. Oh. I'm going to have to remove this, guys. We'll have to redo it here. Add source. Smart selection. Smart. There we go. Our final Patreon post of the week. Let's jump into this real quick from Grassy Peak. As you guys can see, most of our posts came from Grassy Peak and Dave's Aquarium. So shout out to those two bros. Thanks for coming in. I see Ollie H showed up. Is Ollie H not a member anymore? Oh no, what happened? Ollie, I hope you're doing all right. Oh, I think maybe Ollie's a Patreon, and that's how I know. Okay, sorry. My bad. I do that sometimes. I'm like thinking out loud, and I didn't mean to do that. Here is the holding tank for the 3 spot fin butterflies that I caught in Shinecock Bay. You could really accidentally say something that may or may not get you demonetized throwing the, do you say like shinycock? Shinycock? Shinecock? Don't worry, we already got demonetized. They were in the bucket at my summer house for a day and a half before making the 2-hour trip back to my living room. Fortunately, live baby brine shrimp stay alive in salt water, which is cool. It is very helpful to feeding baby brine shrimp to saltwater critters out there, you guys, by the way, just so you know. So they had something to pick on. Baby butterflies don't do without food. Yeah, that is... man, the baby tangs, baby butterflies, oh man, baby saltwater fish need food 24 hours a day. Like, I know baby freshwater fish often need to be fed throughout the day, but man, with saltwater fish, it is like the next level of pressure to keep them fed. So that's basically a little bit of just really basic advice that I could give out to anybody. Like, you got some baby saltwater fish, make sure that you're feeding them. Make sure that you got change water already filtered and mixed and up to room temperature and ready to go. If you got baby saltwater fish, you got to be ready. If you got baby freshwater fish, you got to be ready. Because you can just bust some water changes and stuff, and make sure that you just keep feeding them and keep them well fed. You know, and we gotta do that. Hey everyone, happy Friday! Work servers went down, so I can join today from Lexi V. What's up, dude? Glad you showed up. Appreciate it. Fishy Mindset says, I have some pretty faded shrimps. Any tips on getting them colored up? Quality food, water conditions. Dark substrate. Dark substrate will always help kind of color up pretty much any fish, or any shrimp that you get, especially anything that is a specifically colored shrimp, I guess would be the easy way to explain it. So if we're talking about crystal shrimps, the high-grade cherry shrimp, any of that kind of stuff that you're like really looking for a coloration, dark substrate will help. Quality food, quality water, all those things will 100% help in the coloration. I shared out some of my favorite shrimp food the other day on the community tab, which, by the way, is an Amazon link that, oops, let me grab the link here. Shirakura. I'll grab the link, but I have to give you the spiel while it happens, while I say, like, hey, we're an Amazon affiliate, and, so, like, if you click a button, it doesn't change the price, but we get the advertising kickback, so be aware of that. And now the Federal Trade Commission can't get mad at me for not having told you, because I did. I was like, I said it even before I put the link in the chat. So here is the link here. That is a helpful food that will hopefully help you out. Very easy to feed. You could break up the little tablets. You could throw in a half. You could throw in a quarter. You could throw in a whole one. Boom, boom, boom. Hopefully that helps you, Darren. You know, that bag is like $16, which seems like a lot of money until you realize just how long it lasts. It's going to last a really long time. So, I mean, that might be enough food for 6 months, maybe a year. Who knows? With the supplementing with some other food, so you could really go crazy buying shrimp food. But I honestly feel like if you have like 3 different shrimp foods that you're feeding, that's plenty, and it will a little bit goes a really, really, really long way. Like here's a perfect example right here. So I got this in Germany. It's still sealed. This one is, perfectly sealed, so it's going to be fine. It's been sitting at room temperature, not an issue. But like this little container right here is probably this is a lot of shrimp food. Realistically, like it seems like it's just a little tiny container, but it's a lot. It's a lot of shrimp food. Shrimp don't eat that much. They're not eating a big volume. They eat all the time, but they're just not eating like a big volume. And when we add, when we add shrimp food to a tank, typically we're adding too much even. So I would recommend just easing back. A little bit of food here, a little bit of food there. Helps keep your water clean too. Don't want to foul the water with adding too much food. You don't want to do that. It's not good. Chubbs Aquatics, man, he's been a member for quite a while. He's got his new badge. Was that the 6-month badge? I don't remember. The little thing's not working. Normally it would tell me if I hover over your badge how long it's been. Does that work? No. It used to work. It doesn't work anymore. I don't know. But Chubb says, I'm looking at the front door waiting for the mailman to bring my box of plants from the LRB Aquatics. Nice. Always good times. Always good times to wait for the mailman when you're getting plants or fish or shrimp or anything like that. It's always a good time, especially if you know they're coming. If you know that they're coming, it's good times. Fish Keeperist hasn't caught a stream in a while. Well, that's a statement. Oh my gosh, this apple stand not only has fresh cider but fresh fried apple pie fritter things. Yeah, definitely get both of those for me. Let me know how they are. Alyssa says, but I would need such a big tank to do justice to Ultims. Ultims at some point in time. I think Ultims at some point in time I may get back into doing Ultims again, but I don't know. Maybe not. I haven't really decided. What did Alyssa say? I like dogs that look close to the wolf and fish that look similar to wild. Okay, I can get behind that. That makes sense. And Dave loves them too. All the crazy colors don't look good to me. My one koi is a reject, and I love her minimal weird pattern. Koi fish is a hard place to understand the grading. I mean, there's a reality that I get as much joy from a $50 koi once it grows up versus a $2,000 koi or even a $10,000 koi or a $100,000 koi. I mean, that's just the reality. Is that the koi grading is very confusing. It's very difficult to have a good understanding of, oh, wow, this is the highest quality koi fish I've ever seen in my life. It is a very in-depth practice. Like, it's not something that I think people could just pick up and, like, know exactly what's going on. So I don't think there's any reason why anybody would be like, oh, I don't like your low-grade koi. He's only orange and white, Most of us don't really have a strong grasp on grading that stuff. Though I do plan on going back to koi.com at some point in time to go film another follow-up video from the last video. I think I'm going to go out there with a friend of mine who is an aspiring camera operator. Somebody that's aspiring to do some content and stuff, and I think we might go out there sometime soon I got to get in contact with them and see if it's cool still. Obviously, we got to wear our masks and all that kind of stuff, but seemingly we should be able to go and film and socially distance without a problem. But I don't know. I don't know what they got going on at this point out there. But I'd love to go back and really shoot some like, well, here's $1,000 fish and here's a $30,000 fish, and can somebody really tell me which one is which? You know what I mean? Koi angels or koi of the carp variety. Well, he's asking Dave. Okay. I was talking about koi of the carp variety, the big ones, the big koi. Someday I'll do a big koi pond. Was actually talking with Corey yesterday. He's probably going to be doing some koi moving at some point in time. It's going to be pretty interesting to see that kind of project come along. We'll see what happens. Just like crystal shrimp, I prefer the ones with many stripes as opposed to the higher grade, mostly white ones. I can 100%. I can see where people are coming from on that. The grading of shrimp is, especially with like crystal shrimp and whatnot, is a little bit different because you're breeding in the white, right? That's the trait that you're trying to bring to a high level, and I think that becomes a little bit confusing to people because the sort of standing wildish varietal type stuff is that oftentimes white turns up as kind of a translucent situation. So it's an easy way for us to kind of grade what we would consider to be a good trait with crystal shrimp because we're looking to bring the white up to a better grade. Is basically kind of how to describe that in a way that sort of makes sense as to why they're graded that way. But it isn't necessarily like just the shrimp being white is what makes it a high grade. Generally speaking, it's the pattern of coloration that is kind of the easiest way to describe, other than shape and motility and all that kind of stuff that goes into it too. But like you could look at let's see if we get a flower crown, because like I have a bunch of Chris Lukup imagery over there, but it's in like a picture frame or whatever, so I don't think I'd be able to bring it out here. So like a good example would be like, somebody's got a giant watermark right over the top of it, so that's not really going to work. I mean, I like to give credit to people. Will this load? Oh, here we go. Here's one from SO Shrimp. I'm going to have to save image. Save. And then, yeah. So here we go. Let's go back over here so I can get to the control panel and post this picture into, oops, open the wrong program. There's like a new emblem for the broadcasting software that I use now, and it's completely different than it was before, so it's not really helping me to navigate today. I'll get used to it. I will eventually get used to it, you guys. That is true. I think that saves into here. Yep, there we go. So like here's a good example of some really high grade crystal shrimp. So this is from SO Shrimp, by the way. You can see the watermark on there. This is not my image. I'm not claiming that this is my image. It really isn't. And let's get our little arrow. Where's our arrow? It's down here somewhere. Arrow. But we got to move it to the top. Otherwise, you guys won't be able to see. Otherwise, you guys won't be able to see the arrow. Move up. Up. There we go. Oh, marvelous. Does it rotate? Does the new setting allow me to rotate it? Is there a way? There's still not an easy way to make it rotate. But we can move it around on the y-axis. There we go. That's fun. Anyhow, so this is a high grade, which generally these are generally like SS grade, SS plus, something like that. So they're not the highest grade or anything like that. But as you can see, like, you know, we have this spot right here on the tail that's red, and then we all the way at the end of the tail, we got that spot there. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see it. I feel like I'm like pointing at a tiny picture. There. And then I can scoot over here a little bit. There we go. That works. But as you can see, we've got the, whoops, I tried to grab the arrow. Give me the arrow. There. So we've got this spot right here. And then we've got this body pattern right here, which generally will take some kind of shape. Like here's a diamond crown right here. That, and that's, you know, you're looking for a replication of a pattern that is identifiable by humans to be looking at, right? And instead of it just being like a blob that doesn't really look like anything, you're trying to replicate a specific pattern. So these are probably like a diamond crown or a flower crown or something like that. But we're looking for that red spot right here. You want a red spot down right at the end of the tail or an all white tail. You want this white body here, and then you want the red coloring up on just this segment of the body right here, and generally some red in the face. There really isn't much you can do about that. But you can see like the high grade coloring is mainly because the white is so white. It's so solidly white. It's not opaque at any points. It's not faded away. And you know, but it's nice and solid and whatnot. So like this shrimp right here needs to come out. Like this one's got extra spots going down its whatever their spine's called. There's a name for their spine, but this one should not be in here. This should be moved to another tank. Or these are all just kind of SS. These like look pretty SS to me. I wouldn't give them like a triple S or anything like that grade, but they're very nice looking shrimp, and it's not just necessarily about just the white or just the red, but you can see how well the separation is. So like the line isn't muddied at all. It's a solid break in between the white and the red. So those are all very important characteristics, like the body shape on this, the body shape here is all a very healthy, you know, I don't really think of how to describe it, but it's a healthy shape of what the shrimp is supposed to be. There's no like real, you know, weird shape going on. I don't know how to really describe it. Like there's no real like hump or any kind of like overpronounced depression or anything like that in their back. Their shape is correct. I like to see a little more white on the legs, personally, is one of the things that I find just sheer unadulterated joy in the little shrimp that have like white, and then when they're moving around, they have their little like really contrasted against the substrate white legs, you know, going all buck wild, sort of like the Sulawesi shrimp. The Sulawesis are generally going to be that color of their legs. That's just one of their legit characteristics that they're supposed to have. And so you'll see those a lot, but I have trouble maintaining a Sulawesi shrimp tank for a long period of time. All the salts and balancing and all that kind of stuff takes an excessive amount of work, and don't have time for that these days. So, and I also don't have a bunch of small tanks dealing with shrimp on a regular basis. I'm just overly busy. I'm just have too much crap going on. Yeah, I think any place I buy, we won't have space for anything more than a goldfish pond. You'd be surprised. You'd be really surprised. I mean, you think of, you know, how many gallons is in one of those like blue above ground pools? How many gallons is that? How many gallons in an above ground pool? There we go. So let's say it's 52 inches tall and 12 feet around is like 4,000 gallons. If it's 15 feet around, it's 5,000 gallons. If it's 18 feet around, it's 8,600 gallons. So, you know, you think like a 52-inch wall, it's not that much. It's a little over 4 feet. It's not too crazy. 15 feet around it's a bit. It will occupy a little bit of space, but it's really not that much, and you're getting 5 to 8,000 gallons, which is a good volume of water to just have some koi jamming around in there and doing your thing. And you know, maybe you won't have 100 koi in there. Maybe you won't have, you know, a couple hundred fish or anything crazy like that. But you definitely, most people could accommodate something like that if you own a piece of property with some kind of yard. You know, it's something that you could put together. Tazawa's tanks, Zenzo, like his little patio pond is just like a perfect example to me of like he doesn't have a yard, he doesn't have any space, but he still was able to implement a really cool system that he's growing plants in. He's got fish, he's got all that stuff going on, and that's like a perfect example. Like even if you don't have a yard, you could still do a pond. Now you really wouldn't be able to be doing koi in there, but you could do some little like baby koi or something like that, you know, because you could be growing them. What's the diameter of a 15-foot around pool? It's like 15 feet. Do you mean? I'm confused. It's the diameter. Are you saying the circumference? So the circumference is, what is it? R pi or pi r squared, right? So we go 3.14159. Is that right? This is pi. Yes, okay. This is pi. Times radius, which is 7.5 squared. Where's the little square on the keyboard? I don't know where that is. Damn it. Oh no, that's area, isn't it? Or is that the circumference? How do I do the circumference? Circumference. I can't remember how to do the circumference. Circle calculator. What is the circumference of a 7-foot circle? 21.9, I guess. I don't know. Trying to remember what's the equation for that? To use the calculator to begin. Where's the stupid? Okay. Hold on, here it is. For all circles in the circumference, call C is equal to pi times the diameter. So pi times 7.5 is pi. We divide the sides of this equally. Yeah. Okay. So no, I was right. Yeah. Circumference of a circle is pi times the radius, or just the diameter. Oh, maybe it's the diameter. Okay. Maybe that's where I was wrong. So let's go, I guess. Times 15. Yeah, learn more about pi. It can also be defined as a curve traced by a point where the distance from a ratio of a circle's circumference is to its diameter and is approximately 3.14159. Yeah. So there we go. The circumference is that. Boom. Glad I'm not the only one who Googles how to do equations. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty rare when I do equations these days. I mean, it's not necessarily an operating function of something that I have to do regularly. I typically will break things down into rectangles or squares and do my area that way. Like, rarely do I ever have a circle that I have to figure out the area. So, like, if I'm building a building and I need to figure out, like, how much lumber I need and that kind of stuff, I always just break it down into rectangles and squares, you know what I mean? And then just figure out my square footage, calculate my cuts, figure out where lumber can fit, where lumber can't fit, all that kind of stuff. So I don't really bother with doing very many equations these days, but Most of the stuff I have to look up and calculate is, load on electrical, depending on if I'm running, like a triple phase 20 amp circuit or a 50 amp single pole, like that, all that kind of stuff is generally what I'm doing normally. Just electrical stuff. Most plumbing is pretty super basic. Because what's the man? I don't want to quote anything on here. So we want flow rate per inch pipe, and off the top of my head, is that okay? Hold on. So off the top of my head, you basically have a 1-inch pipe. And then you have to do velocity, let's say that, and then flow rate is 6. And we can calculate from there. This thing is super weird. We'll use the calculator. Feet per minute, and flow rate is cubic inch per hour. Calculate. Okay, I don't know. This stupid one doesn't work. But the calculation looks like this. Can I save this? Save image as. Whoa, where'd my mouse? I lost my cursor. Oh, there we go. Okay. And then I can go add source. Looks like this. So if you're trying to do the flow rate calculator, oops, I moved the camera. So if you're trying to calculate, I'm clicking on this and I'm moving that. Okay, stupid software is just being a jerk right now. But if you're trying to do like figuring out the flow rate and velocity, like here's how you do it right here. That's how you do it. That's the calculation. So you have to figure out your pipe diameter or and what your velocity is. So what your flow rate is with your pipe diameter times pi, so it's pipe diameter squared times pi over 4 times whatever your flow rate is to figure out your velocity. And then flow rate, I never really figured this one out. But once you figure out your flow rate, you can figure out your once you figure out your velocity, it's pretty easy to figure out what pipe diameter you need to go with. And that's generally like what I'm working off of on a regular basis as far as like what kind of calculations I'm trying to do. And then I don't want to misquote myself because I actually have like a cheat sheet that I go for with water flow gallons per minute, and then water flow capacity, and then water flow gallons per minute, gallons per hour based on size pipe, inside, outside diameters, and drop, right? So this is something that I have to figure out on a regular basis. Let me just grab this. This is not the cheat sheet I use. I have like a super simple cheat sheet that is in my phone, and it takes way too long to try and it takes way too long to transfer stuff from my phone to try and get it onto the live stream, because I'll literally will just be over here like muttering like a damn fool. And I keep moving the camera. Select the image so I can move it. God, stupid software. There. Let me move me back where I'm supposed to be. There. Can I click the image? Can I move the image? All right. Sheesh. That took forever anyhow. Okay. Anyhow, so this will give you an idea. So if you have like a 1/2 inch Schedule 40 and the outside diameter, but this is the inside diameter over here. This one, here's the inside diameter. Here's the outside diameter. So if you're trying to figure out the outside diameter for gluing purposes, so if you're trying to put the pipe together and stick it into something and glue it together, this will let you know what the outside is so that you can make sure you buy the right fittings just in case. But most Schedule 40 stuff is all going to fit Schedule 40, so it's not as commonly used. But when you're like me and you're having to drill holes for pipes to go through, it's good to know, oh crap, I should grab that bit that will cut the appropriate hole. The inside diameter is going to be a little bit variant depending on the flex and stuff like that. But this will give you like 420 gallons per hour is generally speaking with, your PSI and loss is important to calculate. So when you have a pressurized pipe that is perfectly straight with no head, right? And head is the height that you have to go up from the pump before it goes horizontally. So let's say you have none, that it just comes straight out of the pump. You're going to get 420 gallons per hour, not per minute, but per hour, which will give you an idea of. So the cheat sheet that I have basically looks like this. 1/2 inch does 400. 3/4 inch does 600. 1 inch does 900. 1 1/4 jumps up to 1,500. 1 1/2 jumps up to 2,100. 2 from 1.5 inch to a 2-inch pipe goes from 2,100 to 3,300, right? 2.5, 3, blah, 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 keeps going up, 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 and up until you get to 8-inch, which I don't know what kind of maniac is installing 8-inch in really anything other than, for government stuff. You just really don't see 8-inch pipes on stuff very often until you get outside the building and they get real, real big. But this gives you kind of the basic idea of what you're looking at. If this is the calculations that I have to make pretty often. Where's the pressure side, and then where's the drain side? And it looks like the water flow is this. Water flow is down here, basically just gallons per minute going on down a drain, and this is PSI, and then this is water flow capacity. Sorry, why did I say this one? This one down here will basically let you know how fast water will go down the drain hole. And that's all pretty basic, but I normally go off 1/2 inches 400, 3/4 600, then 900, then 1,500, then 2,000. I just keep them rounded in my head, so I know generally speaking what's up. The secret history says 6 to 8 inch is sewer. 2 usually, right? Generally from like a house is 4 inch. So most houses are a 4-inch pipe. There really isn't anything residential that's required to have a 6-inch or an 8-inch unless you had a house with like 4 bathrooms and a whole bunch of water capacity. But generally speaking, you wouldn't need it realistically. Darren DeRue says, don't know if you answered this because the internet went down for a minute. Would you dose every day less than recommended dose or dose twice a week full dose? I have a Fluval Flex 9-gallon and use Nylock G Thrive C. I mean, personally, optimistically, when it comes to like dosing fertilization, daily is best. Daily is best. But unless you have something that's automated, it's like virtually impossible for a human being to dose daily on fertilization. And one of the big reasons for that is that as a human, when you're fertilizing and things are going well, it's so easy to forget to fertilize. It really is. It's like the opposite of what you would think. When things are going well in the tank, you forget to fertilize. It's going to happen. Because you're going to look over your tank and go, that's bitching. Everything's going rad over there. And you don't think, wow, I should put some fertilizer in there because you've done it repetitively so many times. It's why we have to remind people to brush their teeth all the time, right? Because if your teeth are doing good, people forget to brush their teeth. I don't know why. I'm in a super habit of reminding myself to brush my teeth. I brush my teeth like 3 times a day. So it's not impossible for people to add fertilizer every day, but your fish tank isn't attached to your head. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not attached to your body part. It's just over there. And if you don't go over there, you're going to forget. So optimistically, I would say the most effective method of fertilization is an automated system that will dose the right amount every day. As a human being, I recommend like Wednesday or Saturday, or Tuesday and Sunday, or Tuesday and Saturday, or Wednesday and whatever. I try to go twice a week because it makes so much more sense as an average person. It makes so much more sense as a person to try to stick to twice a week on a regular schedule. You could put a notification in your phone that's not going off every single day to remind you to put fertilizer into your tank. You'll forget. But like a Wednesday and or like a Tuesday and a Saturday, that's just like a good reminder of like, oh yeah, and like I have chicken reminders in my phone to double check once every 3 days on my chickens. I have that kind of stuff to remind me like, oh yeah, check my fertilizer twice a week in my tanks, all that kind of stuff. And it's not that intrusive to try and remember twice a week. And you're not really going to see like a monumental benefit as just like an average user from daily dosing versus twice a week. So I really would just kind of stick with the twice a week is generally going to be better than every single day. If you get a little pump that you can run on a daily cycle to add like, 2 mLs once a day or 1 ml once a day, it's totally cool. But you do also have to remember that you're going to service those. You're going to be having to service those to make sure that the squeeze tubes are accurately rotating around properly and dosing the right amount of chemical. And one of the reasons that I know that is that I used to install commercial dishwashers and maintain them and repair them and all that stuff. And you have to check those squeeze tubes for sure. And the average person goes, yeah, but the squeeze tubes are on there and they work, so it's fine. And y'all don't ever think about it because it's not something that you've ever done. So if you do get a dosing machine like that doses a little bit of fertilizer, you have to check it like once a month for sure to make sure that it is dosing the appropriate amount of chemical into your aquarium and not overdosing or underdosing, because guess what? The squeeze tube relies on a wheel. Let me see if I can't find a picture. Chemical dosing squeeze tube thingy. I don't know what you would call this damn thing. So we want images. Let's see if we can't find the right image. So we want one of these open. Let's see what they're calling them. Peristaltic chemical doser. That's right. Chemical dosing. Peristaltic. Did I get that right? I think I spelled that wrong. I think I spelled that wrong because I'm a dumb person. Peristaltic. Peristaltic. Peristaltic diagram. Let's get this thing. Let's get this thing, buds. Here we go. Oh man, look at that. Took us a monumental amount of time to find ourselves a little diagram. Save image as. Let's call it butt farts. Butt farts. There we go. Then we come over here and we go to media file and we open up the butt farts file. Woohoo! All right. This is what I must be saying that wrong because it's peristatic. I thought it was peristaltic. That's peristatic. God, I'm dumb. I'm a dumb, stupid, dummy, dum-dum. Man, my apologies. Peristatic. What a nincompoop. He's out here looking at images on the internet. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, let's bring back the arrow because we like the arrow more than, really anything. We probably like the arrow more than anything. Okay, so as the peristatic pump operates, this triangular deal here will spin around, thusly drawing up. Okay, well, I guess in this diagram we have the arrows here. It doesn't really matter which way it goes. It will draw chemical up from whatever container you have and push this amount right here. So in between this wheel and this wheel, will spin around. It's going to have chemical inside this part of the squeeze tube right here, okay? It'll spin around and dose out whatever this amount is in here, typically 1 millimeter, 1 milliliter, 2 milliliter, 3 milliliter, depending on the size of the periostatic pump. As this spins around, it will spin around however many revolutions you set it to spin around at, and it will dose out X amount of chemical from each one of these as it spins around. So let's say you had 1 milliliter in here, and you wanted to dose 1 milliliter. This pump would only go bzzz from this point to this point, and then stop rotating, and it would send out 1 milliliter down this tube right here out into likely your aquarium or wherever you want the chemical to go. Fertilizer is a chemical. It's just the same as if you were dosing out chlorine or whatever, whatever you were dosing out there. Now, this point right here it was what's called the pinch point. This is going to be pinching, creating pressure against this wall, the housing out here, to not allow chemical to go from in this chamber to this chamber and push it around, right? Now, because of this pressure right here, the squeeze tube itself is like a latex tube. If you've ever seen a latex surgical tube, it gets smushed and it will eventually flatten out and will no longer allow the squeeze tube to open back up to the appropriate amount, right? So it creates this pressure right here. Eventually the whole thing will flatten out because it's latex, dudes. It's latex, just like a dirty old glove, if you know what I'm talking about. You can only use it so much before it fails, right? So when you do the diagnostic, you will take all the chemical out of this, and you will like swap this out for water or something, whatever's inert and doesn't react with the chemical that you have in there. And you will make this go around for a definitive amount of revolutions in order to measure how much chemical it is putting out when it runs a certain amount of time, okay? So let's say this thing goes around 200 revolutions in a minute, and it doses 1 milliliter per revolution, right? It's not a full revolution. It's going from this point to this point. But let's say it goes around 200 times, and in a minute, it's supposed to dose 200 milliliters. What you do is you'll run it for 60 seconds into a container, then measure what it has put out into the measured container and go, wait a minute, this thing's only putting out 170 or 290 or something, right? Then you're able to make adjustments to the speed that the revolutions that it's making. So maybe it's going around too fast, maybe it's going around too slow. But generally speaking, this squeeze tube is what fails. So the first thing that we would do is take the 15-cent piece of latex out of here, pull these parts out, put a new squeeze tube in there, lube it up, put our zip ties on it, the little zip tie clamps that go on there, fully lubed. Then we'll run the diagnostic again to make sure that it wasn't just the squeeze tube that was screwing up the diagnostic. Then if it is putting out the wrong amount still, then now we need to adjust and calibrate the speed and revolution that it's going around. But that's a big pain in the ass. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the amount of time this will spin around to get the appropriate amount of chemical. That's the easiest way to adjust these little pumps. So hopefully that was totally useful to the one person in the world that maybe didn't know what that was and wanted to know what the hell I'm talking about. I think, who makes the dosing pump aquarium? Maybe hydroponics. Maybe that will bring it up out of Amazon. Let's see. Let's see what we get. Holy crap. Here's... Oh, my God. What? This is a peristaltic. God, maybe I wasn't wrong. Maybe I'm not like a complete dummy. Because this one's periostatic, and this one's peristaltic. What? Okay, dude, I'm super interested. Like, who is going to order this pump? It's a single! I am excited, my dude. I am excited. I'm even gonna send this to Corey, dude, because I wonder if he's even had one of these. But if you guys are interested, I'm likely gonna order one of these right here, dude. There's a single one, which will be probably a lot of work to program. So let's be aware that programming that is going to be a little bit more difficult for your average person. I'm sending this one to Corey. All right, there we go. But this one popped up here, which I've used many times. It is fairly easy to program. It has like a walkthrough video, so you guys can look up the walkthrough if you guys order this one. It has 4 dosing pumps on it. So you can dose, 4 chemicals into 4 tanks or 1 chemical into 4 tanks. It's very useful. Is it the best dosing pump on the planet? I don't know, but it's the most affordable that has a clock. You can program it. It has 4 of the little dealy bobbers and works pretty well. This is the J-Bow one. We use these at Aquarium Co-op, to keep all the Aquarium Co-op tanks. So you're talking about, I don't even know how many tanks are there now. I don't know how many tanks I've installed there. 140 tanks or something. I don't know. I have no idea. I can't remember anymore. It's crazy math, dudes. Adding and counting. Counting an image of tanks in my brain is a problem. So those are all there, and yeah, we've used those for a long time. We've had to replace some of them. They work pretty well, but they work really well for Easy Green. I know that. So that might be something that could be worthwhile for you guys. But yeah, just be aware that eventually you're going to have to replace those squeeze tubes and occasionally do a diagnostic. If you're only running it a tiny bit once a day, chances are that, yeah, I would probably set it on your calendar to check it once every 3 months or something like that, because Easy Green's not that caustic or anything like that, so I wouldn't be super stressed out. And you could use it for Thrive also, But just set it up with water and measure what it is that you had it set up to program to do, and you can figure it out. It's pretty basic, and that thing is like $60, dude. You can't really complain. $58 is what I got over here. I don't know. I found out a little while ago that Amazon gives like different prices to different regions. So don't blame me, dude. It's not me. I don't have any say in how any of that happens. Dave says it's peristaltic, but I've got both over here. I've got peristaltic and I've got peristatic. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure this out afterwards and find out exactly what's the difference. That's bugging me. Because what the old ones used to go from a piston. So the old ones used to be a piston-driven deal, and those broke and screwed up all of the time, constantly. Until we had these like revolving peristatic. I don't know what the difference is. Somebody's got to explain that to me at some point. I'm going to find it after the show. But speaking of after the show, a bunch of people left. They got super bored of whatever nonsense I was talking about, which I don't blame them, because we've been live for 1 hour and 50 minutes. So we're coming up on the end of the show. We didn't have any new members today, We had no new patronizers today, and we had one super chat from the Fish Tank Barn. So much appreciate it, my guy. 100% appreciate it. I appreciate everybody showing up, hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, sharing it out with your grandma because maybe she wants to hear me talk about stuff. I don't know. Maybe she's interested. Maybe she's interested in hearing sounds. You know, who knows? Okay, I think I'm kind of caught up. Secret History said, I kind of made a video specifically about Easy Green because people get into trouble once they get algae and low tech. Yet keep dosing. Easy Green has too much nitrate for me. That all comes down to testing your water. Like I talked about earlier in the show, it's very important to be testing your water so you know what is going on. If you're dosing chemical into anything and you have not operated any kind of test to know what is happening with what it is that you're dosing, it's all anecdotal. It's all just anecdotal and becomes problematic when everybody just starts arguing about anecdotal evidence. Whereas if we have tests, we know that we're coming off of realistic evidence of what is happening, you know, so we're not causal. Correlation, causation, the difference between the two. So we have to try to maintain that messaging to everybody that we want to keep testing so we know what's happening and we're able to pass on information from a standpoint of less than just observational experience, right? Because we want to give the power to the people, right? Power to the people, I think. But get out there and register to vote if you're not registered to vote, or stop coming to this live stream. I've decided that people that just refuse to vote, I'm not dealing with them anymore. I don't want to. I just don't want to. If you're not allowed to vote, that is a completely different situation. So do not pigeonhole me and try to say that like, whoa, I can't vote. Now I'm mad. Because if you can't vote, let's figure out how to resolve that situation. Let's figure out how to resolve that. We're seeing in Florida a lot of pushback on that, you know. I'm wondering, I recently heard somebody talking about this, and I wanted to check. Felons allowed to vote states. And I wanted to look up this list, and I just remembered... that I wanted to look this up. Let's see. Can felons voting rights by state is what we're looking for. Because I remember somebody was telling me that like if you're a felon, you can't vote, right? And that's not true. In some states, yes. Lost until completion of sentence, parole and or probation, automatic restoration after, right? Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So once you're done with parole, once you're done with your sentence, you get your right to vote restored. Lost until completion of sentence in some states, post-sentencing awaiting period. Additional action required for restoration, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Lost only while incarcerated. Automatic restoration after release, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, right? So it's not a matter of like you lose your right to vote forever if you're a felon. Which has somehow become like the zeitgeist in America that like, well, I have a felony, I can't vote. No. Every state's different. Look it up and figure it out. If you're still on probation and stuff like that, chances are you probably can't vote. But if you are done, you're generally speaking going to be able to reinstate your registration. You're going to be able to vote. So just look into it. So if people with felonies want to get mad at me because I was like, oh, go look it up. And if you're still ineligible, hey, I'm not mad. That sucks. Let's figure out how to fix that. And I know that a lot of states are screwing people over with their court fees and all that kind of stuff, and I have paid more than my fair share of court fees. I fully understand where you're coming from. Let's figure out how to make that happen and get that paid off so we can get moved on and get people to vote and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Janice Lumber says, I can't vote, but I can state my opinion. If this doo-doo keeps going down, I'm taking a one-way trip to Canada. I don't know why you can't vote. I don't know your specific instance, but let's just keep it going. Bob Howie says, same here. Mismatch sucks. I'm in a small rural town. I'll mask up and vote in person. Yeah, if that's what you got to do, I would recommend to everybody out there not to wear a bunch of political gear or anything like that. Just wear your regular clothes to go vote. Wear your mask. Take some hand sanitizer with you. It's all pretty basic. Like, don't roll up on people and start big arguments with whatever the heck is going on at the polling station. If there is something that is illegal going on, please get to a safe place and contact the authorities to let them know what's going on. All that kind of basic advice that we may or may not remember at the time, but just wear your normal clothes. Don't wear a giant MAGA hat or a giant Biden hat or a whatever hat or what. Just wear your regular clothes. Go vote. Do your thing. It's an important thing to do, but it's also like it's like doing an errand that you need to do. You don't need to turn it into some wild thing, but it's very important. So just go do it. It's like it's less obtrusive than going to the dentist, and we all should be going to the dentist and all that stuff. And we got to vote, so we'll be able to go to the dentist someday, right? Mary Page Flynn says, I feel you, Joel. I've got my rights reinstated. That is great. That's great to hear. Or wear your standard John Deere hat. I don't know. It could be political. It could be political. Just wear a blue. No, don't wear a hat. No hats. No hats. Just skip the hats. Comb your hair. We'll be fine. Living in the States for 50 plus years. Oh, you're a Canadian citizen. Okay, that's what's going on. All right. You probably just have your residency. Yeah, but either way, we're coming up on that stuff. We got to get it done. Jim Williamson, the company I work for, gave us off November 3rd to vote. That is actually fantastic. It's bizarre to me that we have to rely on companies to give us the day off to go vote. It really should be. We really should just. It should just be a nationalized thing that we all, don't go to work. We have a lead up time to be able to go vote in person. Plenty of time to go vote in person instead of just one day. It's open for 6 hours. It's totally nonsense. I live in Washington State, so our voting system here is actually very streamlined. It works very well. You can vote in mail by person if you like, but we do vote by mail, right? So if you are a registered voter at your address, the appropriate address, your ballot will be sent to your house. Do not do both. Do not try to do both. That is a felony, and don't do that. Ours just gets sent here. You can sit down at the table. You can spend about an hour and make sure all of the people that you're voting for haven't committed some kind of crazy crime or anything like that. You can look up the backgrounds of people and kind of figure out what's going on. You can look at their platform if you're confused by it. You have plenty of time in Washington State to go vote. I wish more states had a streamlined mail voting system like we do. So, but I know a lot of you don't. So just get it on the schedule, figure out where you're going, go vote. I understand that a bunch of people are pissed off at the presidential election. I get it. I don't care who you vote for. Just go vote. Because if you're not voting for your senator, if you're not voting for your mayor, if you're not voting for your sheriff, if you're not voting for the people in the state that you're living in, I don't know what to tell you. You're like, I don't want to vote for the president. Well, who? Oh, fine. Then don't. But go vote for your county auditor, and find out who that weirdo is. Because that is going to be paramount to you at some point in time, okay? Yeah. I mean, this stuff is all very, very important. And I don't know how to relate it to people that it's very important because we've been living in a society that has intentionally been trying to convince people that it is pointless to vote. And it really benefits the crooks. It benefits the criminals. It benefits the people that want to take advantage for us to not vote, and that's why they want you to not vote. But I love you guys. Have a great whatever. I'll be back maybe Monday unless I book a job. And if I book a job, I will post something up to let you guys know I won't be here. But hey, man, money is important. I got to figure out how to fund stuff and keep moving forward with projects. So I might be booking a job. We'll see what happens. Let's go bid this thing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Later.